the citizens, the children of Egypt, men and women, I address you today, to the youth of Egypt,
مصر کے صدر حسنی مبارک کا خطاب.
and nationwide. I address you all with a speech from the heart, a speech from father to his children, to his sons and daughters. I tell you, I take pride in you, the symbol of a new generation of Egypt, calling for a change to the better, adhering to the same, dreaming of a bright future and shaping such a future. I tell you before anything that all those who fell martyrs and injured, their blood will not go down the drain. And I confirm that I will not relent to penalize all those responsible fiercely and strictly, and I will hold accountable those who committed crimes against the rights of our youth to the most severe sentences according to the law. And I address the families of those innocent victims that I felt deep pain, the same pain you felt. My heart went out and I felt the pain as you did. I tell you that my response to your voice and your message and your demands is a commitment that cannot be waived. I am totally determined and adamant to fulfill all the promises, genuinely, honestly and seriously. I'm totally keen on implementing all these promises with no return backwards. This commitment stems from my firm conviction of the genuineness and truth of your intentions and your movement, and that your demands are
ایک طرف صدر حسنی مبارک کا خطاب جاری ہے اور دوسری طرف قاہرہ کے لبریشن اسکوائر میں عوام کا اجتماع.
to mistakes and rectify such mistakes at the earliest and penalize those responsible. I tell you, my fellow countrymen, in my capacity as the president of the state, I cannot find any embarrassment at all in listening to the youth of my homeland and responding to them. However, all embarrassment comes from, and the wrongdoing comes from, and I cannot and will not accept to be dictated orders from outside, no matter what the source is and no matter what the excuses or justifications are. My fellow countrymen, the youth of Egypt, my fellow citizens, I announced in very plain, unequivocal words that I will not run the coming presidential elections, satisfied with what I have offered to the nations for over 60 years in the time of war and peace. I announced that I will adhere to this position, and I also announced that I will similarly remain adamant to continue to shoulder my responsibility, protecting the Constitution, safeguarding the interests of the people until the authority and power is handed over to be elected by the people in September coming in the fair and free elections, where all the guarantees for transparency and integrity will be secured. This is the oath I have taken before God and before the nation, and I will continue to keep this oath until we, with the people, rest assured. I have laid down a vision, a clear one, to exit the current crisis and to realize the demands voiced by the youth and citizens in compliance with the constitutional legitimacy without undermining the Constitution, and in a manner that ensures the stability of our society and the materialization of their demands. At the same time, laying down a framework to be agreed upon for the peaceful transition of power through the responsible dialogue among all the forces of society with absolute veracity and transparency. I laid down this vision, committed to my responsibility to take the country from these harsh moments, and I will continue to observe the implementation step by step, hour by hour, looking forward to the support and the backing of every person keen on the people's interest in order to translate them into concrete reality within broad consensus in the nation, to ensure the proper implementation, which will be sponsored and safeguarded by the intrepid armed forces. We have initiated a very constructive national dialogue encompassing the youth of the people who call for change, together with all other political forces. And this dialogue has yielded in preliminary agreements in stances and views. Therefore, we can lay our foot on the right path to exit the crisis, and we should continue marching into this path to move from the guidelines of the Agreement speech into a clear roadmap and a specific timetable. This will go day after day, day by day, on the path of peaceful transition of power from today till September next. This national dialogue has converged on the formation of the Constitutional Committee to examine the constitutional amendments required, together with the necessary legislative amendments. Also a steering committee to ensure the precise implementation of the promises I made before the people. I am keen on the formation of these two committees to be comprised of independent and transparent jurists, legal professionals, and professionals. In addition to the victims that have fallen in the unfortunate tragic events which left deep pain in our hearts and shook the conscience of the people, I handed down my orders to speed up the investigations in the last weeks in events and to refer the outcomes to the chief prosecutor to take the necessary legal actions. Yesterday, I have received the first report on the constitutional amendments with top priority as proposed by the committee I had formed from the jurists and legal experts to examine the constitutional amendments and legislative ones. And I, in response to the report laid by the committee and their recommendations, and by virtue of the powers vested in the President of the State, as per Article 189 of the Constitution, I today proposed the amendments of 6 constitutional articles, Article 76, 77, 88, 93, and 189, in addition to the annulment of Article 179 of the Constitution, confirming that I am prepared to propose at a later stage to amend the articles as per the recommendations of the Constitutional Committee as required. These amendments, the top priority amendments, aim at streamlining and simplifying requirements of candidacy to the presidency and the term of office, to ensure the rotation of power, reinforce the supervision over elections to ensure it is fair and transparent. It also gives the exclusive jurisdiction of judiciary to rule upon the legitimacy and validity of the members of the parliament, and the proposal made to scrap Article 179 of the Constitution, it aims at creating balance between protecting the nation from the perils of terrorists and ensuring the respect of civil rights and obligations of citizens, to clear the way for scrapping the emergency law once stability and security are restored and suitable circumstances are available to lift the emergency law. My fellow countrymen, priority now is to restore confidence among all Egyptians. Confidence and trust in our economy and international reputation. Confidence in that the change and transformation we started can never be reversed. Egypt is braving through hard times where we cannot tolerate for these circumstances to continue. Our economy has suffered losses and damages day by day. It will end up in a situation where the youth who are calling for reform and change be the first victims. The current moment is not relating to my personality, not to Hosni Mubarak. It is now relating to Egypt, the current situation, the future of its generation. All the Egyptians are lying in the same trench, and we should continue engaging in the national dialogue we had started in a friendly atmosphere without any enmity and distancing from any differences in order to break through the current crisis and to restore confidence in our economy, stability and peace to our citizens, and to restore the normal way of life to the Egyptian streets. I have been a youth just like you when I learned the ethics of military, loyalty to the homeland and sacrifice for its sake. I have exhausted my life defending the homeland and its sovereignty. I went to war. I won victories. I lived the days of occupation.
सदर मुबारक के इस 12 मिनट के खिताब में अभी तक कोई ऐसा नुक्ता नहीं आया जिससे ये ज़ाहिर हो सके कि वो इक़्तिदार से अलग हो रहे हैं। उनके इस खिताब को काहिरा के लिबरेशन स्क्वायर में सुनने वाले लोगों ने यकसर मुस्तरद कर दिया है और फिर एक बार अरहल मुबारक के नारे बुलंद हो रहे हैं।
Stability and independence and sovereignty of Egypt, worked for its development, for the generation of Egypt. I never sought false power or popularity. I am certain that the majority of the people are aware of who Hosni Mubarak is.
अब फ़कत ये देखना है कि सदर मुबारक के इस खिताब के बाद काहिरा के 17 रोज़ से एहतजाज करने वाले ये लोग क्या रुख इख्तियार करते हैं और मिस्र यहाँ से किस तरफ जाता है। सफदर हमदानी, आलमी अखबार।